Hi guys, this is the video for chapter 11, lesson 1. So in this chapter, we are going to be taking a look at how to find the area and perimeter of all kinds of two-dimensional shapes. Today, what we're going to focus on are looking at parallelograms and triangles, okay? So the interesting thing about this lesson is that we are going to actually bring in some concepts that we've learned in the past related to triangles and stuff like that that we're going to use here in this lesson. So you may have found area of parallelograms and triangles and perimeters of parallelograms and triangles in the past, but what we're looking at today is just going to be one step deeper and making use of information you've learned in the past. So one thing I want to review with you first is these special right triangles. These special right triangles that we studied a few chapters ago, I think in chapter 8, is going to appear again for us here. So let's just review. The two types of special right triangles we have are the 45, 45, 90 and the 30, 60, 90. So if we remember, the 45, 45, 90 comes from a square. And so knowing where it comes from helps us remember that these two sides are going to be congruent, which means if this side is x, this side would also be x. And then because it comes from a square, that also helps me remember that it's x times the square root of 2. So square root of 2 kind of, is the opposite of squaring something. So that helps me remember, okay, the hypotenuse is x times square root of 2, and that's kind of the pattern of the side. Now, if we kind of review our 30, 60, 90, we remember that our 30, 60, 90 triangle is a half of an isosceles, or not an isosceles, an equilateral triangle, which means all three sides technically are congruent. And so that tells me that if I have this little base here as x, that means this little side here would be x. And so if all three sides are congruent, that means this hypotenuse here would be 2x. And so that's 2x. And now we're left with figuring out the height, the height here. And so the height is x times square root of 3. And I remember square root of 3 because of this 30-degree angle. That helps me remember, 30 degrees, 3, square root of 3. So that's the pattern here of these triangles that we see. And if you don't remember this, if it's like fuzzy in your memory, write this down again because we're going to see this again in our lesson. So let's take a look at our study guide. On our study guide, we are asked to find the perimeter and the area, which means there are two parts that we have to find. Now, the perimeter is just all the outside sides of the shape, and the area is the actual area. And so there's an equation given to us up here, and this is probably an equation you've learned before, but the area of a parallelogram is base times height. So the base and the height always make a 90-degree angle. And so that's key for us to recognize what the base is and what the height is. So let's do number 1. Let's take a look here. Let's find the area first. So they've given us this base. This part is 8. This part is 10. And the height is 16. And so to find the area, we would just calculate the base, which is 18, times the height, which is 16. So plug that in. 18 times 16 is 288. And we're going to say this is square feet. So this little symbol, feet squared, shows us this is 288 feet squared, square feet, which means that's the area. Okay, now the perimeter, I need to find all the sides. Now I know that opposite sides of a parallelogram are going to be the same. However, I'm not given this little side here. So I need to use the information that's given to help me figure out this other side here. And thankfully, if I look in my picture, I have a right triangle. So I'm going to have to use what I know about finding sides of right triangles to help me find this third side. So I think I'm going to use the Pythagorean theorem. We're going to use the Pythagorean theorem a lot. So the two legs are 8 and 16, so I have 8 squared plus 16 squared. equals hypotenuse squared. And so I'm going to plug that in. 8 squared plus 16 squared, and then square root that. And so you get about 7. You get about 17.88. So the hypotenuse is 17.9, maybe around the nearest tenth. And so I'm going to calculate this all as 17.9, and that means 17.9 here. Then I'm going to add all my sides together. So that times 2 plus 18 plus 18 is about 71.8. So the perimeter is all the sides added, 17.9 plus 17.9 plus 18 plus 18. Add them all up, and you get about 71.8 feet as your perimeter. Okay. There you go. Number 2, let's take a look at number 2. So right here we have the base. If we're looking for the area, we are missing the height. So that's kind of a dilemma for us. Well, what's interesting is that all the sides are the same, and they've given me an angle of 60 degrees. So let's find the perimeter first, since that looks like something that's a little easier to do. If I know all 4 sides are the same, I know that it's just 24 times 4, right? And 24 times 4 is 96. So the perimeter is 96 inches. Now I'm done with that, which is nice. Now on to our area. I need the height. I can't work this out without the height. So what's interesting is there's a 60-degree angle here, which tells me that this opposite angle is also 60 degrees. And so I'm gonna just draw out my template of a 30, 60, 90 here, because I think that's gonna help me a little bit with solving the parts, okay? So I know that this is x, this is 2x, and this is x times square root of 3, okay? So if I know that this side here is 24, that means 2x equals 24. So if I work this out algebraically, x would be 12, okay? And then if that's 12, then that means this third side here would be 12 times square root of 3. So I think I just found this hypotenuse, this third side here, is 12 times square root of 3. And so that opposite side is also 12 times square root of 3. And then I have 24 and then 24. So actually I don't need, sorry, I wrote that wrong. I don't need that hypotenuse. I meant the height is 12 times square root of 3. I don't need the side because I already found the perimeter. So, so the height is 12 times square root of 3. And now I'm going to do 12 times square root of 3 times 24. So area is 12 times square root of 3 times 24. And you can just plug that in your calculator, and hopefully your calculator will just turn that into a decimal for us. And that ends up being like 498.8. So the area equals 498.8 square inches. There you go. Number 3. It's a square, looks like, right? So the perimeter, same idea as number 2. I would just add all the sides, you know, but there's 4 of the same side, so I could just multiply that by 4. So 1.6 times 4 is 6.4. Done with that, which is nice. And then the area, this is my base. They make a right angle. That's my height. So it's just 1.6 times 1.6. 1.6 times 1.6. 2.56. Area is 2.56 centimeters squared. Okay. Looking at number 4, I think you guys can do this. So pause it and see if you can work it out. But opposite sides I know are the same, right? That's 10. This is 10. The height's given to me. So it's really pretty straightforward. It's given me everything I need. So the perimeter is 10 plus 10 plus 20 plus 20. And that would be what? 60 inches. Okay. Area, height is 8. Base is 20. 20 times 8, 160, I believe, inches squared. And that's it. Okay, number 5. Ooh, missing some stuff again. So let's, we see that these opposite sides are the same, 15 and 15. Opposite sides here is 30 and 30. So I think I can do the perimeter. If you can do it first. Just go for it, 15 plus 15 plus 30 plus 30. So I believe 30 plus 30 plus 15 plus 15, that's what, 90 feet. So the perimeter is 90 feet. And then we now need to find the area. Now, I don't have the height. Yet again, I'm missing the height. And yet again, they've given me an angle. So this is 45, which means this is 45, which means this is a 45, 45, 90. So let me draw out my template of a 45, 45, 90, because if I remember 45, 45, 90 really well, and I can kind of identify the parts, then it really will help me with solving it. So so what I see here is the hypotenuse is 15, which means I need to find one of these sides, because one of these sides is that height. This is the height here. So I need to find one of the legs, right? These x, which means I kind of have to work backwards and work out what just x would be. So if I know x times square root of 2 equals 15, that means x has to be 15 divided by square root of 2. And we learned through a series of, steps that this basically means it's 7.5 times square root of 2. But if you wanted to just plug this in your calculator and find it as a decimal, that's totally fine with me. So the height is 15 divided by square root of 2. So the area equals 15 times divided by square root of 2 times the base, which is 30. So 15 divided by square root of 2 is 10.6. And then that times 30 is about 318.2 when it's rounded. So 318.2.19, which rounds out to 2. So this is feet squared. Okay, though that one was kind of tricky, right? 2 and 5 were tricky because it made use of these right triangles that you know of from the past. So try number 6. Number 6 is very similar to number 3. It's another square. So try this. Perimeter is just 4.1 times 4. And 4.1 times 4 is about 16.4 centimeters. Okay. Then we need the area. The area is base times height, which is 4.1 times 4.1. And multiplied out is 16.8. 16.8 centimeters squared. And there you go. Looking at number 7, some real life application. So a bathroom tile floor is made of a black and white parallelograms. Each parallelogram is made of 2 triangles with dimensions shown right here. Find the perimeter and the area of one parallelogram. So let's transfer this information here. So I know that this height is 6.7 and the base is 11, right? This bottom of the white triangle is 11. So if I wanted to find the area, it's just 6.7 times 11. And I believe that's what, like 73.7 centimeters squared is the area. And then to find the perimeter, I know that this side here is 7, so that means this opposite side 7. This is 11. So 7 plus 11 plus 11 plus 7 is about, I don't know, 11 plus 11 plus 7 plus 7. So 11 plus 11 plus 14 ends up being what? 32? 36 maybe? 36. 36 centimeters. And that's it. All right, that one wasn't too crazy either. Okay, now we're looking at finding the area of triangles and finding the perimeter of triangles. So looking here, again, finding the area of a triangle is something you've learned before. It's 1/2 times the base times the height. And I believe you've looked at this in the past where you've maybe cut out shapes and looked at how that works and stuff, but reviewing that, area equals 1/2 times base times height. So big thing we need when we're looking for area is having the height and having the bases. And then we are also asked to find the perimeter and area again. So I think we're going to have to use the Pythagorean theorem a lot here. Number one, we don't have the height, but we have a right triangle here, and it's kind of on the outside of what we're not looking for. We're just looking for the shaded image. But this helps us because we have a 3 and a 5. And if you remember correctly, our Pythagorean triples, we know that a set of triples are the 3, 4, 5. So without even having to work out my Pythagorean theorem, I know that this height has to be 4 because it follows a triple, 3, 4, 5, a triple pattern. And so if I know that this is 15, this is 4, then to find this third side, this hypotenuse, I'd probably have to use the Pythagorean theorem now. So my legs is 15 squared plus 4 squared equals hypotenuse squared. And so that is, hypotenuse is about 21.59, which is rounds to 6, 21.6. And so my perimeter would be all those sides added together, 21.6 plus 15 plus 4. And that's about 40.6. Centimeters. Okay, now to find the area, it's 1/2 times 4 times 15. So 4 times 15 times 1/2 or divided by 2 is 30. So the area is 30 centimeters squared. That one was more straightforward, wasn't it? Okay, so actually going back and taking a look at that problem, I realized I found the wrong hypotenuse for this triangle. So it's actually 15.5, and then added all of them would be about 34.5 centimeters. That's the correct perimeter. Okay. All right, number 2. We need to find this third side to be able to identify the perimeter. So we've got 8, 14, and blank. I don't know. So I'm going to do it up here so I have a little more room. So 14 squared plus 8 squared equals hypotenuse squared. So 14 squared plus 8 squared equals 16.1. And that means this third side is 16.1 plus 34 plus 22. And so the perimeter is 72.1. Okay, the area, I'm given the height here, it's 14. So remember the area is always like perpendicular to the base. And even if they're not connected, it has to be perpendicular. So 1/2 times the base times height, so 14 times 22. And so we have 22 times 14 times 1/2, which is 154. So the area equals 154 square feet. All right, I think you guys get the idea. I don't know if I'm going to do all these problems. Maybe I'll do 4 just because there's a little more going on here that we have to find. But then I'm going to let you guys do 3, 5, and 6, and I'm going to put the answers up there for you to check, but I'm not going to work out everything because it's the same process, and then I'll do this word problem with you. So number 4, we've got 9, 9, and we have to find this third side. And so we have 9 squared plus 9 squared equals hypotenuse squared. And so work that out. Hypotenuse is about 12.7. So that's 12.7. And then we have to find this third side here. So if we were to make like another right triangle to find this third side, I could transfer this information. It's almost like I'm creating like a rectangle around it. This would be 9. And I believe that this part here would be 13 and 9 put together. So 13 plus 9, 22. So this would be 22, which means now I can find this third side. So you kind of have to like think through visually and mentally how to like work this out. So 9 squared plus 22 squared, square rooted, it's like what, 23.8, okay? So now we can find the perimeter. The perimeter is 23.8 plus 13 plus 12.7. And that is about 49.5, 49.5 centimeters. And then the area is pretty straightforward because we have the base here and then the height's 9. So it's really just, the area is just 1/2 times 13 times 9. So that ends up being 58.5. And that's centimeters squared. Okay. You can pause, work out the rest of them. I'll put the answers up here. So number 3, the perimeter is 92.5. The area is 220 inches squared. This is just inches. Number 5, the perimeter is 75.6 inches and the area is 234 square inches. Number 6, the perimeter is 71.7 millimeters and the area is 220.5 millimeters squared. Okay, looking at number 7. It says the logo for an engineering company is on a poster at a job fair. The logo consists of 2 triangles that have the dimensions shown. What are the perimeter and area of the triangle? So basically we have 2 triangles. We need to find the perimeter and area. The nice thing is I have the height and I have the base. And so to find the area won't be too hard. It's just 1/2 times the height, which is 25, times the base, which is 20 plus 25, which is 45. And so when I work this out, that's pretty straightforward. 25 times 45 is 500 Ooh, okay, 562.5. However, I guess actually, if I read a little more carefully, it's saying find the area of each triangle. So I need to find both areas and both perimeters. So looking at triangle 1, it's actually just 1/2 times 20 times 25. I'm going to say area 1 here times 20 times 25. And then the area 2 would be 1/2 times 25 times 25. So this one's going to be 250 inches squared. Area 2, the second triangle, is going to be 312.5 square inches. Okay, now for the perimeter. I'm stuck because I need to find the hypotenuse of both of these. So for triangle 1, 20 squared plus 25 squared equals the hypotenuse squared for this is triangle 1. And then triangle 2 is 25 squared plus 25 squared equals hypotenuse squared. And so I have to work this out to find the hypotenuse for both. The hypotenuse here is 32. And then the second one is 35.3 or 35.35, so it rounds up to 4, 35.4. So then the perimeter of triangle 1 is 32 plus 20 plus 25. And that's 77 inches. The perimeter of triangle 2 is 35.4 plus 25 plus 25. And that's 85.4 inches. And there you go. So that's everything. Now, each problem does take a few steps. It's not as straightforward, right? It kind of takes a little time, but it really is taking into practice a lot of things that you've learned in the past. And let me tell you, these next two chapters, chapter 11 and the next chapter after, it's going to keep building. It's going to keep building on stuff that you've learned before, and it's all going to accumulate. So you've got to better start practicing it now, right? All right, there you go. That's all I have for you today.